Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. Listen up. WynnBET is now live in all these states, and the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas has finally landed in online sports betting and casino play. From boosted parlays to live in-game offs on every major sport, WynnBET gives you the tools to win. Sign up today for your risk-free $1,000 sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com to start winning.
You're listening to Building the Broncos with Nick Kendell and Carl Dumler, Broncos country's leading draft and scouting analysts. Get on over to milehighhuddle.com to sound off on all things Broncos.
Welcome in. Wake up. The nightmare is over. The Broncos have landed themselves a legitimate franchise caliber quarterback. Russell Wilson is a Denver Bronco.
You missed the most important story of the day.
Oh,
Deshaun Hamilton is no longer a Denver Bronco.
Oh man.
I just wanted to throw that one out there. But no, you're right. I mean, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with myself today. Once I saw that news, I mean, the whole day was gone after that, for one thing. I didn't know,
Absolutely.
should I go running in the streets around town? Because I'm in Chiefs area, surrounded by Chiefs fans. So I thought about going and knocking on doors and letting them know what's happened today. Wanted to watch a bunch of Russell Wilson games, which I did a little bit of that. And oh man, it is, I about cried happy tears watching his games because I'm like, this is what a competent quarterback looks like. I kind of forgot that this is what it looks like. And it was beautiful. His long balls, I mean, just floating in there, just all, I know long balls, but it was just, oh my gosh, I could not be happier today. And looking even at the trade itself, I thought it would be a lot more than that, especially for Russell Wilson. Yeah. And you possibly got him here for the next 8 to 10 years of good quarterback play. We don't have to have this conversation of who's going to start for the Broncos. Are they even worthy of starting? Oh my goodness. How we could go on all day about this. I think my natural energy and just high of the day, I think I could stay up all night just talking about Russell Wilson.
Honestly, I did a show this morning with Scott on Broncos for Breakfast. We did an emergency Broncos for Brunch episode that lasted 2 hours. I hopped on a Twitter space for about an hour as well. And now I'm here talking football again. And thank God, otherwise my wife would be so over me by now because I need somebody to talk with. So, Carl, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited that everybody's here to talk about the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson. Jeff's in the house. Or James is in the house. So good to see Salvi Nation's in the house. Mark Lindemode separating ourselves from the Raiders as they are the Raiders Nation. We are Broncos country. Absolutely. Mr. Stewmead, been a second. How's it? Good to see Jeff Noyes in the house. Husky Hardcore coming in, or maybe it's Husker Hardcore. Still scared about ownership of the team. Have seen not work out good. Well, this ownership just got a lot more interesting for the Broncos going forward. Kathy's in the house. Oh, it's going to be a good discussion tonight. It's all good vibes, baby. The vibes are immaculate. So excited. Silent one. We need to give George Payton a raise ASAP. Yeah, we'll get into George Payton as well. Jay Stylos in the house. I hope we sign Hassan Reddick for our new edge in free agency. Definitely possible, but I would say, guys, I think Von Miller to the Broncos is that's back in season. Von maybe knew something beforehand, but we'll get into it. Ashton in the house. I think we may have a new MVP next year. Absolutely. God, maybe this is just me being petty, but I've been waiting to just be so over Aaron Rodgers. And because he might come here, obviously, if he comes here, you're going to be excited because he's a good quarterback. But to have Aaron Rodgers announce his news and then like an hour later, the Russell Wilson stuff hits the news waves. And it's like the most egotistical, narcissistic player in football right now, probably Aaron Rodgers. And then boom, it's a Russell Wilson day. Take that, Aaron Rodgers. God, I just put that in your pipe and smoke it, buddy. I am so maybe put that in your ghee for your cleansing or whatever. I'm cleansed of this Aaron Rodgers stuff. God bless. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, it almost feels like he used the Broncos to get what he wanted.
100%.
And, when you're that used girlfriend to make somebody else jealous, that ex-girlfriend jealous or whatever you want to call it, to make them now your new girlfriend, again, it just, I'm glad that this is how it's worked out. When we first talked about this, of all the different possibilities, I remember talking where Russell Wilson was actually my option one.
Yeah. Just
because of how long he could go. With Aaron Rodgers, you never know. Next year he could go, I'm done. Mm-hmm. I don't need football anymore. And you're going, we just traded 3 first-round picks for you, and you're gone? Well, you don't have to worry about that with Russell Wilson.
No.
He's probably going to be here for, like I said, probably 8-10 years, possibly. I mean, with how long quarterbacks are going these days, 43 really isn't that big of a deal as much as it used to be. And, maybe he can talk to Tom Brady, get on the TB12 diet or whatever and see how that goes. But William, thank you very much for tuning in here. And, you're our favorite. So, no, we really do. It's an exciting night. We're going to have so much fun with this. Yeah. Just sit back, relax, get the chat going like crazy, guys, because this is going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun stretch here with what the Broncos have. And the amazing thing is they still have so much more they can do. Like, it's not one of those you trade for Russell Wilson, you say, okay, that's it. That's all we can do this offseason. Yeah. They can do so much more. Like, if that's all they did, they'd still win the offseason. But they can still go out there, sign a bunch of guys, Von Miller, Chandler Jones, Calais Campbell. They can maybe bring him home to Colorado. There's just, the possibilities. They're everywhere.
Yeah. Let's get into it here. We got a couple super, Scott, but let's get them rolling. Let's get the good vibes going. Are the 12s also coming with the Russell Wilson acquisition? I'm not sure what this means. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Are the 12s? Is that the size of his hands?
That's the fans. No, it's the fans.
Oh, yes.
They call themselves the 12s. They got into a fight with, is it Texas A&M?
Texas A&M.
They got into a lawsuit between the two of who gets to call themselves the 12s.
Yep.
And, hey, I can promise you, when Mile High has something to cheer for, that place is rocking. Yeah. I mean, that stadium, I remember the old stadium especially. I mean, you kind of felt like the whole building was going to come down. New one's not quite as shaky as the old one, but I promise you that place will get loud here in Denver.
Well, I am, as long as it doesn't fall on the one weekend where it's my best friend's wedding, which would be so upsetting, I have to get tickets for this Broncos at Seattle game. I know they're going to be very highly sought after, but that's going to be awesome to see. I'm gonna have to find myself a Russell Wilson number 3 jersey. And for you guys out there, if you're getting the stars and the super chats in, make sure you're doing that, because then you get a chance to get a raffle entry and get a Bronco jersey of your choice. That choice just became so much easier for you guys. So make sure you're getting those in. Like Yvonne here coming in. Nick and Carl, this is the best day in the last 5 years. I got married in the last 5 years, so it's probably number 2 for me. But absolutely, it's the best day in Broncos history. I mean, I'm going to remember exactly where I was, because I was in the pit of misery. I don't know if you're following me along on Twitter there. I was just making, chaotic tweets about like, oh, the Broncos are trading for Jimmy Garoppolo versus Drew Lock versus Kenny Pickett. Pit of misery, because that's what we've come to expect over the last 6 years in Broncos country. And then I get the ping from Adam Schefter that Russell Wilson's coming to the Broncos. And I'm like, that's a check mark. I'm clicking it. I go to my computer to make sure I'm not like getting hosed by a really clever image. It's real. All these Pete Schrager's tweeting about it. Tom Pelissero. It happened, baby. Cody W coming in. Thank God in a week or two, we won't be talking about the quarterbacks. We'll be talking about how the Broncos can best build around the quarterback, which is so much fun. We said it on here 100 times. Train doesn't leave the station until you get that quarterback. Now we get to talk about how we can build around the quarterback and give ourselves a chance, baby. Go ahead, Carl. Take this one.
All right. G Hill coming in here with the $50 super chat. G, thank you so very much. Good evening, guys. George Payton for president. He is amazing. We'll miss Locke, Harris, and Fant. Yep. Wish them best of luck. Where do we stand in draft? Who's available? Hashtag MHH for life. Hashtag DB for life. Let's cook Russ. And you're right. I have to say, I was a little skeptical after this last offseason. Like, I liked the players they brought in.
Absolutely.
But of course, when you don't fix the quarterback position, that's always going to be the question. Like you said, the train doesn't leave the station until you get that position figured out. And then looking at this offseason, I'm like, oh my gosh, again, pit of misery. That's where we live. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't come here, we are in so much trouble. And then the news drops, Aaron Rodgers signing his big contract, going back to Green Bay. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I told somebody, I'm like, I'm trying to make myself believe in Malik Willis, like just to give me like a glimmer of hope. And then Russell Wilson comes about. And yes, George Payton, man, sign that guy to a lifetime contract.
Hats off, man.
Yes, hats off to that man. Yeah. All right, we got DW96734 coming in here with a 333 and 33 cent super chat. Oh my gosh, DW, you are amazing. This is such a wise move. Younger than Rodgers, yes. Wilson has a lot of years left. He makes your franchise a target for free agents. He just made the franchise selling price go way up. What a move for Peyton to pull off. I truly can't believe it. Broncos state of being. Oh my gosh, you're right. I mean, I have to wonder, Von Miller, when he was tweeting out all that stuff yesterday, I'm sure he had inside information. I mean, that guy has connections throughout the entire league.
Yeah.
I'm sure he knew when he's sitting there going, I'm thinking about coming back to the Broncos. That should have been a sign to us. Like, he knows there's something going on here. It's not just because he loves Denver, because he wants to win. He wants to go to a team that he can compete. And without the quarterback, can't compete. So I really do think there's a very good chance Von Miller is a Denver Bronco once again. Can you imagine getting a second and third round pick and getting Von Miller back?
Unbelievable. It's kind of like for you football fans, your football European or whatever, not American football. It's like a loan, right? You say a guy for a couple of years, you give us a couple of money for him, we'll let him play for you, and then he's going to come back at the end of the contract. So Von Miller, come on back, baby. I wasn't really about paying Von Miller massive money if the Broncos were going to be, Jimmy Garoppolo versus Desmond Ridder versus Drew Lock, because that is using up a lot of your cap space and flexibility for a guy where with those quarterbacks, it felt like a terminal endpoint for the Broncos. This doesn't feel like a terminal endpoint anymore. This is, to the moon. With Russell Wilson. So if you can bring Von Miller back with, heck, what is he going to want? $16 million a year? Maybe he even comes back for a slight discount to just lean into the good vibes that are going to be in Denver going forward. I definitely think it's a possibility. And before, I don't know if it would have been prudent. Right now, I mean, today, the Broncos window opened.
Yep.
You go for it now. You go for it now. I don't think Peyton's going to wait at all. They have cap space. They still have draft capital. You created some holes with the trade, but you also created like $12 million in cap space too doing this. So free agency, I think, is going to be extremely exciting. And to the comment above also, Denver just became a destination city for a lot of spots. A lot of guys are going to want to come here and be a part of this. So DW96734, thank you so much for your support. That's a big time move for you. And for us, and we really appreciate you. Chase also coming in here. Broncos Rams to open the season. Definitely possible.
Broncos Seahawks.
I was going to say it's either Broncos Rams opening for Thursday night football to open up week 1 or week 0, whatever the heck they call it. And or Denver at Seattle Monday night opener for the late game if they're doing the doubleheader. Both are viable options. The Broncos are now going to get to play in primetime football because people give a bleep about their quarterback and people believe in them. No, people weren't tuning in to watch what we've had the last 6 years. The kind of were after we were defending the Super Bowl, but I mean, the Trevor Siemian team, are you kidding me? God bless the broken road because it's led us to this point right now. Same thing I said about the Tebow Orton years getting us to Manning. But we're taking off now, baby. Smith Corona coming in $50. Thank you so much, man. Peyton so far A++. Carl, did you ever see the movie Christmas Story? With Robbie, it's like the teacher, he's like fantasizing how he wants the BB gun and writes the essay, and the teacher's on the board, A++++, and she's like blowing kisses and stuff. That's what I'd be doing for Peyton right now. I'm just A+ across the board, baby. You are killing it. Everything I said last year questioning you, Surtain's going to be a great player, but it won't matter until you get the quarterback. Okay, well, now it matters because you got the quarterback. Man, it's God, amazing. Smith also goes on here and says, in my opinion, Albert Okwuegbunam isn't even that far off of a drop from Fant. Amazing historical day from Broncos country. My understanding for the Broncos trade getting it done today is that originally they were offering Albert Okwuegbunam, and the Seahawks wanted Fant, and the Broncos said, we're not going to let the difference between Alberto and Noah Fant keep us from getting Russell Wilson. So Noah Fant, off you go. Here's to hoping what's good for Alberto Okwuegbunam. But Russell Wilson hasn't even ever really done great with using the tight ends, right? They brought in Greg Olsen. They brought in Jimmy G, which was a terrible trade for them at the time. Just one of the multiple terrible moves that they've done to surround Russell Wilson with very little help. Bad moves. You can make moves, but that doesn't make them good moves. So honestly, they don't have to totally way overinvest in the tight end position, in my opinion. I'd rather them maybe bring in another running back or offensive tackle. Those probably more important. You can bring in a depth tight end for sure, but I don't think you have to overinvest in it. You don't have to be the best tight end team in the football now. Now that you have a Russell Wilson here, you don't have to have a perfect roster to compete. God bless. That feels good to say.
Yeah, the name I was thinking about earlier was like Gerald Everett.
Yeah.
He's not going to cost a whole lot. He's worked with Russell Wilson there in Seattle. He can be a good tight end 1/2. Those two can kind of trade off and on a little bit. Maybe you're looking more just for that second blocking tight end kind of thing, because you're going to be wanting to go 3 wide. You're going to want to be spreading this thing out as much as you possibly can, getting those light boxes, being able to do some RPOs. I mean, like I said, the options are endless of what the Broncos can do now on offense, but especially you want to get those 3 weapons and 4 once KJ Hamler comes back, really.
God, I cannot wait for the slot fade with KJ Hamler. It's going to be so fun. The down the field vertical pass game. Man, the vibes are so good. I'm buzzing right now. George Fox coming in. We needed this deal as far as some are saying we paid too much, but with Wilson, we have a proven product where you don't know on draft picks. This made my day Denver Broncos for life. Say what you will about Russell Wilson, and I'm really excited about I thought they did a pretty good job surrounding him with KJ Hamler and DK Metcalf. Those are two very good guys. But if you recall, Broncos brought in, David Moore, who was the Seattle number 3 receiver for years, who was on the Broncos for a cup of coffee and gone. They haven't had really good weapons. They've been drafting blocking tight ends super early. It hasn't worked out for them. They gave up first-round capital for Dwayne Brown, who's been good, but it's been a bad offensive line. And then the defense, 2 first-round picks for a glorified off-ball linebacker / safety who's not a coverage player. Drafting Rashad Penny in the first round, drafting LJ Collier in the first round, a off-ball linebacker in Jordan Brooks. Just terrible job by the Seahawks to surround Russell Wilson. I think there was somebody was like the lone dissenter. What a perfect name, or lone opinion. And you're saying Russell Wilson's average. I bet you a year ago, you were screaming, Matt Stafford is garbage. He can't win a playoff game. Look what he's done. He's never even done anything with Detroit. Guess what? When you have a great quarterback, that's the most important piece, but you also have to surround that quarterback with good pieces. Broncos got the great quarterback now. They got the surroundings. They still got work to do, but for real, get on the rocket ship now, man, to the moon. We're going now. We're going now.
All right. We got Freddie coming in here with a $10 super chat. Really appreciate it, Freddie.
Yeah.
Who are the 3 best quarterbacks drafted by the Broncos in our franchise history? Jay Cutler.
I'm going to have to be very recent history here because I can't go all the way back there and I can only really go off of what I've seen. So Jay Cutler is definitely one of them. As far as return value, I would say that Trevor Siemian, a 7th round pick, the fact that he wasn't just a camp body is incredible. Hats off to Gary Kubiak for identifying that talent that late in the draft, who's still kicking around in the league, 3rd team. That's incredible. Also, this one, again, this is recent history. I'm sorry, I'm not a Broncos historian here. I got to trust what my eyes see. Brock Osweiler, 2nd round pick, the guy that everybody rued the day that Broncos took Brock instead of Russell Wilson. I guess we rectified that today, didn't we? But without Brock Osweiler, the Broncos don't win Super Bowl 50. And also, I'm pretty sure that the compensatory pick for letting Brock Osweiler walk turned into Justin Simmons. That's 3D chess, baby. That's amazing. That's good. So not great quarterbacks. Broncos haven't drafted pretty well, but it doesn't matter if you're bringing in Hall of Famers when they are at or when they're still in their peak ability.
Right. I would say, do what you know. And if you know these veterans are the guys that go out there and win games, I mean, John Elway wasn't known, but you kind of knew he was probably going to be a great quarterback. Yep. Everybody talked about how he was just the greatest prospect to ever come out at the quarterback position when he came out. That's fine. But again, Peyton Manning, yes, he was injured, but yet you knew this guy brings at least something to your franchise, whether he can play or not. And now, of course, Russell Wilson. Hey, if this is how you go out and win games, this is how you go out and win games. It doesn't matter how you win a Super Bowl. I don't think the Rams are sitting there saying, oh, man, I can't believe we had to win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. We didn't draft him. And they're saying, no, we won a Super Bowl. That's great. We love Matthew Stafford. Yep. And so, again, it doesn't matter too much. I would love to see the Broncos someday draft a quarterback and win games with them, but it's not today. It won't be for a while here. All right, we've got James Moss coming in here saying with a $5 super chat saying new coach, new quarterback, new system. Will be fun watching teams try to figure us out. Still a lot of unknowns. Yeah, that's the great thing is as much as we can look at Green Bay's offense and what they ran, and we look at Seattle and what they ran, it's still going to be some new concepts. Teams are going to have to kind of sit back, kind of figure things out, wait till we figure things out too. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be fun. And this is why I read earlier in the comments, some saying, well, it's going to take a couple years. Well,
why?
The Bucks won it Tom Brady's first year. Rams just won it in Stafford's first year. Why can't it be 3 years in a row of a quarterback switching teams and winning a Super Bowl? It's been done.
It's been done. And this Broncos team, they got holes, but guess what? When you have a franchise quarterback, you don't have to have every hole filled. We got supers coming in from Nathan coming in with Fant gone, any tight end prospects in the draft to look at. I really like Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State. I really like the classic Y tight end. It's not so much that the blocking from the tight end matters so much. It's more so that if a team goes dime personnel when you're in 11, then you can run it down their throat. So it's a matter of forcing them into disadvantageous personnel in the pass game with a capable blocking tight end. That I know that everybody's really big on Trey McBride as well. I think he's probably going to go before the Broncos pick 64. But there's some depth here in this class as well. I'm excited to, now that the draft needs have totally changed for the Broncos a bit, we're going to get a chance to really dig into some of the depth of the class. Thank you for the comment, Nathan. Gary Leeds Palmer, always good to see you, Gary. Oh my God, this is actually what I wanted to happen. We will have some epic battles in our future, as well as a legit chance for a Super Bowl. Thanks, Seattle. And thank you, Seattle. Beautiful city. Love you. Summer's great here. And it's also, Gary Leeds Palmer says, we'll have a legitimate chance. How about chances? Because you're talking about a 33-year-old who could be great the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, possibly. I mean, who knows? Chances. And the best way to win a Super Bowl, get to the playoffs repeatedly, knock on that door repeatedly. If you only have one chance, pretty hard. That's why you don't see great defenses tend to win it, because they are volatile year to year. Great quarterbacks, though, give you a chance year after year. Daheen coming in. He's contributed on all 3 shows today, so that's the triple crown for a Daheen. Third time I'm hanging in with Nick today. Yeah, dude, you're going to get sick of my face and my voice. I know that I am. Looking at my own mug here. I'm having a look at Carl in the chat. George Payton from here on out is known as GFP. GIFP. Burn down that quarterback carousel, please. Yes, burn down the quarterback carousel. Does this mean, my favorite graphic last year was Pete Carroll at Pike's Market with them throwing salmon at him. That was the best one I saw all season. So let's get more of that. That might be more in the future now with the quarterback situation they got in Seattle. Burn down the quarterback carousel. We're unlimited here now in Denver.
For sure. I can't believe George Payton pulled this off. I really can't. It felt like a dream that you didn't want to quite jump into. And now we're jumping both feet in. Oh my gosh.
Get on board, baby, with trains leaving the station.
All right. We got Kiaka coming in saying, aloha, gents. Great freaking day. Any talk about redoing Russ's contract? He only has 2 years remaining on current deal. Melvin, Kenny, Vaughn. Yeah, that's the great thing on top of this is his contract is, 1, team friendly.
Very team friendly.
And 2, because now you don't have all the guarantees that Seattle has to go pay all those. You can rework this deal because he's going to want more guarantees, especially coming off an injured season. And you can set up for future years for the Broncos. Like I said, you can secure him for the next 5 years, make sure he's staying here in Denver, that he's not going to do 2 years and be gone. Mm-hmm. And so it's a win-win for both sides. And I really do think there's a good chance the Broncos try to get something figured out that way. They don't need him to redo his contract. They still have plenty of cap space, plenty of other deals that they could rework, but it'd be good for both sides. And as for the other guys, Melvin wants a lot of money and he wants to be the star running back. I have a hard time seeing him come back with Javonte here. The Broncos want to feature Javonte.
That said, his former teammate is Russell Wilson at Wisconsin. Their best years were together at that Rose Bowl team for the Badgers. So definitely possible, I would say. I would not rule that out by any means. Kenny Young, I don't think Broncos going to bring back Kenny Young unless he's available for super cheap. And the other one, Vaughn, I'm not saying it's happening, but I am saying that it's gotten exponentially more probable. And you think Von Miller, after going through what I wasn't in there battling with them on the field, but what we have gone through these last 6 years, and then now to come back to Denver after winning a ring in LA, like, oh, this is fun. Seeing I don't want to disparage them too much, the very sparse crowd that was the Rams Super Bowl parade being like, this isn't hitting the same, man. And now coming back to Denver when like hype is at maximum overdrive, Von's got some FOMO, man. I think he's going to want to be back. You're not going to get him for vet min, but you might get him back. You might even get him back for slightly less than what he'd get on the open market. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see. But Denver's going to go after an edge rusher.
I can tell you both sides have interest in getting something done.
Yeah.
But all right, we got Michaela coming in. Thank you so much, Michaela. Love that Patrick Surtain jersey. I bet he's very, very happy. He's going to get some nice interception opportunities when teams have to throw the football. Oh, God. She says, so stoked. Price was big, but if you look at it, it isn't that bad. DB for life. I mean, this is the price of trying to get a quarterback. Chiefs traded 2 first-round picks to get their quarterback in Mahomes. You know, Matthew Stafford just went for 2 first-round picks, and I would say that I'd say Russell Wilson's better than Matthew Stafford.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's close. It's close. I will say that. But yeah, this is the price of operating in the NFL. And if you don't have the quarterback, it's not worth hardly having a season at times. But I already got Travis Weber coming in saying, good evening, Nick, Carl, Scott, and Broncos country. We again were able to land that unicorn. Some fans say we gave up too much, but in a division with Mahomes, Herbert, and Carr, Peyton did what was needed to compete. It's a business, and we haven't been in business in 6 years. Will this move entice Miller to come back to Denver? Yeah, I think, like I said, you've got a lot of free agents now rethinking what the Broncos could offer. It pretty much was before this. Broncos have to be the team that comes in with the biggest contract for me to want to go there.
Yeah.
Now it's no, I can actually go chase some championships.
Yep.
I think of like DeMarcus Ware when he came here to Denver. He took a less deal to come to Denver than he could have got on with some other teams because he realized this is a place that can go win some Super Bowls. Makes it worth it.
Okay, I'm going to take this one from Yvonne coming in here. Now the priority is inside linebacker, right? I think he's doing this just to troll me. I think he knows now that we can't argue about quarterback anymore. He's just doing this to get under my skin. And I love Javonte Williams. What's the area where I can really tease Nick? The off-ball linebacker position, baby. No, I don't know if it's the priority. I would say now that you have Russell Wilson, that priority has to be either edge rusher or offensive tackle, 2 premium positions, one that you want to keep Russell upright and healthy. We've seen the last 2 seasons he's gotten hit and dinged up a little bit. So you want to keep him upright as he gets older, no doubt about that. And also edge rusher. If you're going to be playing with the lead for the first time and consistently for the first time in 6 years, you need some game winners to hunt the quarterback in those obvious pass down situations. It's one of the reasons the Broncos were terrible last year at closing out games. Like, Fangio's defense isn't getting it done at the end of the game. They're relying on Bradley Chubb with one leg and an undrafted free agent edge rusher. Like, no, they're not going to get it done. They're not talented enough up front. They're not healthy enough. So a linebacker is definitely up there, but I would not put it up there with offensive tackle and edge rusher. Inside linebacker, I'm really hoping Josie Jewell comes back. I think that's a possibility. You also have nickel cornerback spot. Be great to bring Bryce Callahan back too. We'll see if that plays out that way.
Yeah. All right. We got Cody W coming in with a $5 super. Thank you, Cody. Stay where we're at in the draft or trade a second and third to get to the first. I think it's going to take more than a second and third because we got the last pick in the second round. It takes a lot to get back into the first. So I don't think it's worth it. And the way that Peyton and his staff drafted last year in those middle rounds, just keep those picks, fill out the roster, get a lot of cheap players to surround all the others to get, to fill out, like I said, just to fill out the rest of the roster. You've got your stars. You don't have to worry about that. Now go fill out the rest. All right. Andrew Baker saying, who is this guy Wilson? Is he a quarterback? Forgot what those look like. Like I said earlier, I went back and watched a few of his games. I about cried happy tears just seeing competent quarterback play again because it has been so long here in Denver.
Denver's had competent quarterback play. Let's not disparage it. You're talking elite quarterback play. And you know what else is fun? Russell Wilson is legitimately a fun quarterback. I got next gen stats here from NFL. Russell Wilson since 2016, deep passes, 25 plus yards. He's first in the NFL in deep passes completions, 182. First in passing yards, 6,347 yards. Fourth in yards per attempt, 14.1. First in passing touchdown, 65. Third in passer rating, 110.8. And first in completion percentage over expected since 2016 on passes that carry 25 plus yards over the field. Not only is it a good quarterback, it's a fun quarterback. And you said you were crying happy tears. I can't imagine. I mean, I guess I can imagine because Judy was essentially live tweeting it. The roller coaster that was, we're not getting Rodgers, we got Wilson. I mean, we're right there with him, but like they're crying happy tears right now. Those guys are in a group text right now, all caps. I'm sure they're still blowing it up. I do feel bad, and I'm going to take 1 second. I know the supers are piling up. Thank you, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, and Drew Lock for your contributions for years as Broncos. Obviously, not the greatest years in franchise history, but still, by all accounts, good dudes and dudes we were pulling for during this time. So, hopefully they're going to be hanging out with me now out here in Seattle. But, they're a part of Broncos history. They always will be. And maybe they find their way back. But either way, those guys are professionals. This is kind of the business that happens sometimes. But, don't want to totally dismiss them. Denver will miss those guys in different capacities. No doubt about it. There's a reason that the Seahawks are bringing those guys in. Cody Potter, $10. I think it was a great idea for both parties. Bro, we just got a chance for a minimum of a 5-year dynasty. We lost literally nothing IMO. Well, right when I say that we're missing some guys, but okay, Cody. Nothing other than picks. Harris, Fant, very replaceable. Let's go, baby. Maybe not exactly replaceable per se, But again, you don't have to be perfect at every single spot. You don't have to, Josie Jewell is enough at the linebacker spot. Draymond Jones is definitely more than enough at the defensive line spot when you have a quarterback. You don't have to have all pros at every single spot when you have a franchise quarterback that can raise all boats and can win games on their back when you need them to. So,
right.
Good luck to those guys. And thank you, Cody, so much for the support. We appreciate you. Let's keep it rolling. Go ahead, Scott.
All right. We got Travis coming in saying, evening, fellas, DB for life. So excited that we got Russell Wilson. I have a feeling we're about to win again. It's about time we found our answer at quarterback. Yeah, you look at Seattle. This last year was the first year that Russell Wilson has had a losing season in his entire NFL career. And of course, he was hurt. The team was kind of in a little bit of chaos with all their different trades they've made. Front office hasn't done a great job of getting that team talent. You went over the first round picks that they've had recently that have just had everybody shaking their head. Who saw that this guy was a first round talent in your organization? Are you pulling names out of a hat? What are you doing here? And it's great that we found our answer, and it's great for Russell Wilson coming to a team that has a lot of talent. I mean, Broncos were his choice. That's a great thing with his no trade clause. He chose the Broncos. There were other teams trying to trade for him. And he said, no, I want the Broncos. So that's great to hear. We got Cody coming back again saying, I predict a 2014 type of Elway offseason by getting Ware, Talib, Sanders, and others. It could be. Like I said, you can be as aggressive as you want to be at this point. And I think the Broncos are going to be that because George Payton understands this is what you do. When you get a franchise quarterback, you go for it. And so I'm so excited here next week. It's crazy that free agency is next week. Yeah. All right, we got Jess coming in with a super chat saying, ready to punch a hole in the wall. Let's go. Maybe calm down just a little bit. Saul, thank you for the stars. Really appreciate it. Travis coming back. I'm also glad that Drew is getting a fresh start. Yeah, I think it's good for a lot of those guys. Noah Fant, he went through a lot of tragedy this last year. I think he maybe needs a new start as well. Shelby Harris, I do feel for that guy because he loved Denver and Denver loved him. But Husker Hardcore coming in with a $5 super. Vaughn did love Denver and did not want to go. When the big contract, he sent a bottle to everyone in the AFC West, even scouts, players he wants back. Yeah, he loves Denver. He does. Yep.
It'd be great to have him back, man. The Broncos need a pass rusher. Sorry, Malik Reed, probably not getting it done as a starter there, but better as a designated pass rusher, maybe some coverage reps there, but can't hang in the run game. Vaughn's a very good run defender, so we'll see. David Wilder coming back in. David was killing it for us earlier. Back for round two. Good evening, Nick, Carl, and Scott and the MHH family. Shout out to the MHH family, guys. You guys are awesome as well. The chat is popping. Make sure you guys are following us at Mile High Huddle. Make sure you're subscribing to us on YouTube. Travis coming back in saying, so now that we don't have a first-round pick, who do we take with our second? This is going to sound really cliche, but from first pick to the 50th pick, you could probably get first-year starters out of there. From 51 on, typically you should not be banking on those guys being starters. So who are the Broncos going to get with the second round pick from 64? Who knows what happens 1 through 63? But they should be trying to walk away with the best player possible for somebody down the line that makes sense. Maybe they can be a rotational contributor year one, but you're thinking about the Baron Brownings of the world. You're thinking about the Quinn Miners, the Caden Stearns, guys who are niche role pieces that hopefully can grow during the duration of their contract. But your big needs at nickel spot, your big needs at linebacker, edge rusher, defensive line now too, offensive tackle. These are ones that you're probably going to need to attack in free agency. And you might be able to get some guys on shorter term mercenary type of deals. You guys remember Evan Mathis, Sean Phillips coming in here, et cetera, et cetera. Those guys looking towards the end of their deal, like, well, do I want to go play for the, New Orleans Saints with Taysom Hill, or do I want to go play with Russell Wilson and get a chance to rush the passer? So essential listening coming in here, $5. Imagine the run threat of now having Russell Wilson and Javonte Williams. Defenses now have to account for the quarterback running in Denver. Absolutely they do. I will say, though, 33 years old, you want to be trepidatious with Wilson running the football. Come the playoffs, must-win games, kind of like what the Bills did with Josh Allen this year. Didn't really run in the regular season so much. Postseason, we're in must-win games. We got to run it. But I think it's nice to have the mobility, but you don't want to be using him as a schemed run player very often if you can. Yeah,
Wilson is a smart runner. He knows when to get down.
Yeah.
But we got Michaela coming back. Thank you, Michaela. Russell Wilson now has signed his no-trade provision and passed his Broncos physical per sources. It's official on his end. Great job, Peyton. What a day. Yes, unfortunately, the one hang up still is that this cannot become official until the start of the new league year, if I remember right. So that I guess there's still maybe a chance that something could go wrong, but most likely this is pretty much a done deal.
And Kiaka coming back in saying, actually, we didn't skip your super chat. He said, no, mine later, but we're so many people. Trade is official. Russ passed his physical inside the no trade clause. I did hear that the Washington Commanders offered a much bigger deal, but Russell Wilson said, I'm not playing for Daniel Snyder, period. So he's coming to Denver, baby. That's great. Great to see. So we didn't miss you, Kiaka. We appreciate you. Russell Wilson on his way to Denver. It's happening. There was an asteroid or a meteor last night in Seattle. I don't know if you saw that. I tweeted earlier. I'm like, oh, that's not a meteor. That's just Russell Wilson skyrocketing his way to Denver. I'm landing in the Mile High City here pretty soon. So let's keep it rolling, Scott. We got another one here from Yvonne again. I bet Wilson will get a new contract and become the best paid quarterback in the NFL. Thoughts? Definitely possible. I would honestly might be smart for the Broncos to get a deal in place for him before Aaron Rodgers gets paid officially. I don't think that has been official yet per Aaron Rodgers tweeting it this morning. But he's going to get $45 million a year. The Broncos have the money, and guess what? You have a new owner coming right around the corner. That's probably going to be quite okay with Russell Wilson getting paid, because guess what? Those luxury boxes are going to be full, and when those luxury boxes are full, 100% of that money goes into the ownership pocket, unlike the other tickets and stuff that are league revenue share. So it's going to matter.
All right, we got Travis coming back again. Do you guys think we give Wilson a long-term deal after? Oh, okay. Sorry, I already read that one. My bad.
Thanks, Travis.
Yeah, thank you, Travis.
And we also got Travis coming in. I believe Wilson won't get as much, won't get hit as much as well as usual as well. The thing with Russell Wilson in Seattle is I don't think Seattle viewed him as a quarterback who was a 40 pass attempt a game kind of guy. They wanted to be more 50-50 split. That might be some of Pete Carroll. That might be some of, they viewed Russell having limitations. Russell wanted to throw it 40 times a game. He wants to be thought of as an all-time great, and you need the volume stats to do that. So it will be interesting to see. The Broncos will need to improve their offensive line, because Russell Wilson, even though sometimes it's a positive, he can be greedy in the pocket to a fault and take those hits. So he's going to have to protect himself, I think, with Hackett and the RPO and whatnot, and the Broncos being able to still have all these resources to attack this offseason. They can improve the right tackle spot, and they still have a young, improving offensive line.
Yep. All right, we got Steve coming in with a $10 super chat. Really appreciate that. What do we do for backup quarterback? I think good chance. Oh, and read this one as well. All right, Dennis Woods, thank you very much for your $20 super chat. Would you still draft or get in free agency an edge? Even if Vaughn comes back, Vaughn is getting older and will need to be spelled a little more often. Will Chubb play well this year? Who knows? I think right tackle needs to be a priority now as well. And yeah, you're right. I would say quarterback, I'm going draft.
Day 3.
Yeah, day 3, probably round 4, maybe Ellaby. I know the Broncos have a lot of interest in him. He has kind of a poor man's version of Russell Wilson. I mean, it's not even close to what Russell Wilson is, but I mean, you can run some of the same things with him that you'd be trying to do with Russell Wilson. So that one makes sense. Plus keeps that backup spot cheap. Edge. Yeah. You want to get a free agent edge, and you probably want to get a draft edge as well. That position needs lots of bodies. You need to get a defensive lineman in there, probably both free agency and the draft again. Right tackle, probably free agency and the draft again. I mean, you like to stack these as much as you can. You're trying to set up for the now and the future.
Yep. 100%. Definitely probably bring Vaughn. They're also looking to draft maybe a guy in round 2 or round 3 at the edge rushing spot, but you need to let the board fall to you. Try to fill out the draft, fill out your depth chart and your 2 deep as much as possible prior to the draft, because if you go into the regular season, depending on pick number 64, your first pick this year, because you gave up pick 9 and pick 40 in this trade, at, let's say that's your starting right tackle, you might be in trouble. Yeah. And that's making yourself vulnerable at a spot. So you need to make sure you patch those holes as much as you can prior to the draft, and then approach the draft holistically, and hopefully just get the best guys possible. So thank you guys very much for your supers. Miguel coming in, man, we're going to have a lot of entries for the jersey raffle coming up here at the end of this month. I wonder if it's going to be a fresh, clean number 3 with Wilson on the back. We'll see. Miguel coming in. How do you guys feel about passing on Fields? I know Carl really liked him last year. We said it earlier. I don't want to speak for you, Carl, but we liked Fields a lot. We thought that he had a chance to be a very good quarterback, and one that in most classes, like, make no mistake, if Fields was in this class, he's probably going number 1 overall, just because of the value of the quarterback. But yeah, Patrick Surtain is great. He doesn't really matter until you have a quarterback, because your team doesn't matter until you have a quarterback. he matters a lot now because you have your quarterback. So it's kumbaya, baby. Everybody hold hands. It's great. Justin Fields too. Good luck in Chicago. I'm happy cooking with Russ right now.
Yep. That's how I am. I liked Fields a lot. I really did. I was disappointed that the Broncos passed on him. And I had that question of what are you going to do now? Travis, thank you again for the stars. Appreciate it. You've been a huge contributor, always on this show. Love you. And, but yeah, now that you got Russell Wilson, it makes that Patrick Surtain pick look so much better at this point. Steve as well. Thank you.
They kept Surtain. How the heck did they not trade Surtain in this? I don't understand. Steve, thank you so much, Steve. How do they keep Surtain? I don't get it. Appreciate you, Steve, getting the name in there for the raffle to get that jersey. Let's keep it rolling. Scott is just drowning right now. Scott's killing it, actually. Everybody, quick golf clap for Scott. He's doing great back here. Andrea Riles coming in here. Funny how people say Russ was off last year with 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in 14 games. Also, how much cap space do we have? I think the Broncos have about 24 or 26 in cap space right now, but also you're going to have a lot more room because you're not going to be paying the 9th overall pick, which would have commanded a decent sized salary this season. So that freed up some cap space. There's a lot of contracts that you can move around as well. I don't have I was looking forward earlier, the effective cap space that you can have by renegotiations. But Broncos can create some cap space if they need to, no doubt about it. And yeah, Russell Wilson, let's say he was off. Let's say that is off for Russell Wilson. That is people would be making statues of Drew Lock if he did 25 and 6 interceptions in 14 games last year. He would be, every single episode would be about Drew Lock. So if that's a down year for Russell Wilson, sign me up in blood. Like I am in. So we'll see. And we'll see what it looks like next year with Drew Lock in Seattle. I'm very curious to see. I hope he does well. Fourth year, I hope he does well enough to earn another good contract and a shot after his contract or after this one is over. But it'll be interesting to see how much was the weapons around Drew Lock and the weapons around Russell Wilson, kind of like what we saw this last year from Stafford going to the Rams and Jared Goff going to the Lions and being like, oh, that's why they made that deal. That now makes a lot of sense. Kevin Peterson coming in, $2. Who's going to be our backup quarterback? Kind of talked that a little earlier. I think they're going to be bring in a day 3 backup. Russell Wilson's going to probably eat up almost all the reps anyway. He's 33. You're not going to need to be drafting like a Brock Osweiler type in round 2 because you're not sure if Peyton Manning's arm is going to fall off situation. That's not what's going on here. So who knows? TBD, probably a rookie. Cheap's the big thing here.
Yep.
So yeah, let's keep it going. Rodney Garcia, how's it going, guys? Over the moon. How do you guys think we can get Chandler Jones? I think he's definitely possible. I'd also keep my eyes on potential cap casualties, DeMarcus Lawrence and Zadarius Smith. DeMarcus Lawrence at the Cowboys, Zadarius Smith from Green Bay. Those are 2 names that I have heard. Obviously, they're not available yet, so they haven't talked to him, but those are some interesting names. And it does sound like the Broncos are emphasizing length at the edge rushing spot. That being said, if you can bring back Von Miller, then, length be damned. He's still darn good. So Chandler Jones is definitely one of the top guys. If the Broncos couldn't get this Russell Wilson trade, I think they would have been a little bit more aggressive in paying a big time money on the market. Now the cap changes a little bit. You have some holes you have to create. Maybe you're looking for a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Cost benefit. Just a little bit, like if you get Von for a bargain, not a bargain total spending, but just shaving off a little bit, that'll matter.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm still coming here. Oh, we're rolling here. So Carl, I guess I got to ask you, this is the big question. This is one we've all been getting on here, and I've been thinking about it too. Russell Wilson is now on the Broncos. God, I just have to keep saying it to make sure I'm a lot. Somebody pinch me. Where do the Broncos rank in the AFC West hierarchy now? Obviously, there are holes. Every single team in the AFC West has holes. We haven't had free agency yet, but where do the Broncos rank in AFC West hierarchy, in your opinion, right now?
I'd put them second. Chiefs are still, Chiefs are still number 1. I mean, Mahomes is top 2, top 3 quarterback, and they still have a pretty darn good roster. Obviously, they're maybe going to lose some talent this offseason, but it's hard to argue with their success and what they've been able to do. They're number 1 until you show that they're not. Then it becomes between the Chargers and Broncos. I'm going to bank on the veteran quarterback that has proven it over and over again. Herbert's going to be great, but I just think that I like what the Broncos have talent-wise around Russell Wilson. This will be some of the most talent he's ever had. Offensively, yes, I should say that. Defensively, yes, he's had a great defense, obviously, a few years there. But offensively, this is the most weapons he's ever had. Offensive line wise, it's pretty stacked. Not the best running back he's ever had, because Marshawn Lynch is Marshawn Lynch.
Hall of Fame.
Now, Javonte Williams could get himself into that conversation someday, but he's not there yet. But yeah, so I just have to put them at number 2 right now, then Chargers, then Raiders.
Oh, man, it's really tough. I'm going to have a hard time picking between the Chargers and the Broncos right now. Obviously, Herbert hasn't won anything, but he is a transcending player, and they have a lot of cap room and space, and they're going to be a second-year coach here, kind of getting his guys in there to further implement his scheme. So it will be interesting to see. But that said, man, goodness, you got to feel for the Raiders, man. They have a top 10 quarterback, and he's the worst quarterback in the division. That's probably never happened in the history of the game. I take that back. I don't feel anything for the Raiders, but spite and hate. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, man. And the AFC West games, they might as well just not play a single AFC West game with the sun up this year. Every single one should be prime time. Just what's the AFC West game of the week? Kind of like how they treat the SEC. Oh, who's the night game this week? Oh, it's Florida versus Georgia again. That's how they should treat the AFC West this year. Yeah. Travis coming in. I miss pot roast, no doubt. He was a monster. You can cook yourself up some. I got some recipes for you. No, he was a great nose tackle. He was a lot of fun as well. A replaceable player, no doubt, but it brought a lot of energy. That sack he had on Brady in the 2013 Super Bowl, I believe it was, when he danced. I mean, I felt the earth shake from Iowa when I was watching that one after he did that one. So he was a fun player, no doubt. A lot of energy. It's unfortunate. It's not unfortunate. There were some dreams there of having our own super pot roast supreme with Jordan Davis at 9. But you know what? I think I'll take the quarterback here in that situation. So we're Jordan Davis. Let's not have Jordan Davis go to the Chargers now that we're talking about the Chargers. Let's make that not happen.
Can we have like a draft day video that gets released that makes teams have to question him and he drops to 64?
Oh, man.
I doubt that could happen, but
I don't think so,
everyone can dream. I mean, who would have thought we'd be getting Russell Wilson? But here we are. Yeah. So I'll take it. Yeah, pot roast was a lot of fun. Rodney, thank you so much for the stars. Appreciate that. And always love seeing that car. I'm not sure exactly what it is since it's small, but Cody coming in with the $5 saying, imagine Hamler blowing the doors off of a defender and not getting overthrown. That's why we have Russell Wilson now. Yes, he has one of the prettiest deep balls in football. It just floats right in there. He's got a very catchable football. And yes, Hamler, I think he's going to love this move more than maybe others even. I mean, all the receivers are going to love this. The entire offense is going to love this, but KJ Hamler might be the guy that just says, this guy maybe saves my career.
I mean, God, nobody can be happier right now than Jerry Jeudy. God, that guy, he's coming up on I think it's after your third year, you can get a contract. Not that he'll hold out after next year, but we saw when Aaron Rodgers confirmed going back to Green Bay, Jerry Jeudy just putting the frowny face on there. Now Jerry Jeudy with Nathaniel Hackett with a quarterback, running that ISO game that's really accurate outside the hash marks, working it with Jeudy as a primary read on one side with deep balls to Patrick and Sutton on the other. I mean, I am fascinated to see how this looks. Also, I don't remember ever Russell Wilson being involved in such what I believe will probably be a very RPO-centric scheme, given what Nathaniel Hackett did. Now, a lot of coach talk out there. We're going to do what's best for the quarterback, but they do have some key tenets. We're going to have to see what it looks like, but should be a lot of fun. And what we saw last year with Nathaniel Hackett with Aaron Rodgers, didn't really utilize the middle of the field. That's not really been Russell Wilson's game in his career. One of the reasons that the tight end hasn't been as utilized by Russell Wilson, maybe it doesn't hurt as much to use Noah Fant. Not utilizing the middle of the field, one of the detriments for his height, not seen over the offensive line constantly, not working the middle of the field. That's why he's been so incredible on the boundary. His CPOE, completion percentage over expected, is better than anybody in football over the last decade, by far. So will be really interesting to see how Hackett and Wilson work together. I am really excited for what it does for Javonte Williams, because last year, you guys following the data for the Broncos, they faced some of the, especially in the games when Locke played, but they faced some of the highest box counts in football, trying to slow down Javonte Williams. You do that now, you're going to get killed. So if you're pick your poison, too high safety shell versus the pass game. Oh, nope. We're just going to hand it off on the RPO to Javonte Williams. Oh, you want to now play cover 3 or cover 1? You want to send a run blitz? All right. Russell Wilson, ISO, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler. Like we're cooking, baby. We're going to have explosive pass plays. It's going to be a lot of fun. Michaela Parker also making it a lot of fun in here today. Thank you so much, Michaela, for gracing us today on Building the Broncos. I know you're on the Huddle Up shows a lot, but we like hanging out with you too. Mile High Russ. Love it, Michaela. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you. And thank you for staying on top of the news for us as well.
Yep.
Go ahead, Carl.
All right, we got Travis coming back in again. Nick, I know you feel that edge and tackle is important, but we can't forget we also need defensive backs. And we've talked about how the offense is going to change, but of course with this new staff coming in, they're coming from a staff that played 6 defensive backs. Probably, I think it was more than any other team in football. They were number 1, and you're losing a couple of your guys, possibly Bryce Callahan,
Kyle Fuller,
Jackson. Kareem Jackson. So, those are 3 big names that have been big on this defense to make it work. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the Broncos go about fixing that. I really like Caden Stearns and what he brought to the Broncos. I think he's going to have a bigger role in what they're going to be doing on defense, of course. And Jamar Johnson, kind of the forgotten man. Going to be interesting to see how they decide to use him, to see if he has anybody that still is really liking him. Ojemudia, can he bounce back after a really bad year last year because of injuries and just not seeing the field? But they still need to bring in some other competition for sure.
Yeah, no doubt they'll need to bring in competition, and we'll see what they do. And we got a question here from Lawrence Rivera asking about the picks. I'm going to pull up what we got here. This is via Tankathon. It's unfortunately been one of the highest go-to websites over the last 6 years for the Broncos, seeing where they are at in the draft order. But this is what Tankathon has for the Broncos' current draft order. 2nd round pick from the Rams, Von Miller trade. Thank you so much for that, Von. You're welcome back now, though, if I'm being honest. Broncos' original 3rd round pick there at 75. 3rd round pick from the Rams. 4th round pick, original Broncos pick. 4th rounder, the Seahawks sent it back to us. That's an early 4th round too, because Seahawks were bad last year. 5th round pick from Detroit. Do you remember how many people were upset that when we traded Kendall Hinton? Here's a pick right there. 5th rounder for a guy who didn't do very much for a team that desperately needed wide receiver. Looked good in preseason. Not really crying about it now. And then a 7th round pick from the 49ers. So not the biggest bevy of picks ever, but that was a bunch of picks in the top 150. Those are guys who can help your depth. They can help be developmental guys, some cheap guys on the back end. This is where the scouting department, a team that Broncos unfortunately aren't going to be winning the best draft award probably again next year, unless they do something insane, fading on some picks. But this is where the scouting department's really going to make their money, because those guys, it's easy to scout round 1 talent. Finding future good starters is really tough. And if I said Kendall Hinton, excuse me, not Hall of Famer Kendall Hinton, I meant Trinity Benson. It was the trade that they did to the Detroit Lions. Excuse me.
All right, we got John coming in here with a $5 super. Thank you so much. Just ordered my 1994 White Wilson jersey. Hope it's 3. Does Von come back? Like we've been saying earlier in the show, I think there's a high chance that he comes back to the Denver Broncos. I mean, he's one of those guys. He loves Denver. 2, he likes to make people happy. Nothing would make people happier than seeing him come back to Denver. They have the room to pay him. He's going to be coming to a good team that can compete. There's just so many things lining up for Von Miller to be coming back to the Denver Broncos. So I think it's a very real possibility. And we got Soren coming in here as well with the super chat. Thank you so much. Wow, what a day. I could see us signing Von and possibly Carlton Davis at cornerback and Brandon Williams from Baltimore. PS Vegas puts us at 5 for winning Super Bowl. There we go. It's amazing how quickly things can change like that. I remember right after the Aaron Rodgers news broke, Broncos dropped in Vegas betting like crazy. Then, of course, right as soon as the Russell Wilson news came, just bounced right back up. And so, it's just been a roller coaster day for all of Broncos country. And thankfully, we are ending on the top today.
God, man, we're going out on top. Really going to be fun to see what happens. 5th best Super Bowl odds, man. It feels good again. Broncos relevancy. It's been too long. Last year we broke the streak. What was it for Monday Night Football? And we're back, baby. It's great. David Wilder coming in. I would like offensive tackle or edge in the 2nd. Probably offensive tackle to protect Wilson. You damn well better find him. Thank you for the stars, David. Big stars, says Scott. He's like having a Scott. Are you okay? I can call the ambulance if you're having a stroke back there.
The hair's bouncing.
Yeah, for sure. No, offensive tackle. If you get to the draft and you are dependent on finding a right tackle at pick 64, that whether or not you're going to keep Russell Wilson healthy, George Payton made a mistake. It's hard to say at this point because of what he's done so far. It's hard to say there's any mistakes that he's made, but no doubt about it. They have to take care of this prior to the draft. unless they think that, they have Bobby Massey in their back pocket. There's not much interest in there. They can get him for cheap on the back end because he was competent there. You're not going to get killed playing Bobby Massey next year. But you want to go into the draft holistically, and you want to have a hole that big as right tackle, if you can, patched up prior to the draft. It's just good business, right? Like you don't want to have holes entering the draft, so that way you let the board fall to you. And let's say Chad Muma, who's your number 2 ranked linebacker in the whole draft, falls you at 64. It's like, oh, there's no way this guy should be here. Zoink, he's ours now. Thank you very much. I didn't have to take an offensive tackle and bypass a guy that I thought was a better talent. So that's just good business the farther down you are. Cody Potter coming in here. Miners is our new pot roast. We need to come up with a more Wisconsin-based. He's our cheese curd. More Wisconsin-based name there. He's our fish boil. Jacob Foster coming with stars as well. Thank you so much, Jacob. One of these days, Jacob's going to ask a question, and we're going to hop on that for sure. But Jacob, always supporting us with the stars. We appreciate you so much, man. It's helping us in the morning, the evening, brunch today. It was great. Let's. So, Carl, more questions here for you. We've been talking about building up this Broncos team. We also got Lawrence Rivera first. Hackett's plan is the West Coast. Russ plays single back. How will that affect this gameplay? I would assume that you're going to see more shotgun with the RPO look here, but it will be interesting to see the merging of this. I do think that Russell, I want Russ to cook. There's no doubt about that. But I don't really care as much if he leads the league in passing yards in the regular season. I want my guy healthy for the playoffs. That's what it's about. Kind of like what we saw with Von Miller this last year with the Rams. He's not breaking every sack record. Oh, it's the playoffs. Game on. So that's what you kind of want with Russell Wilson. I'm curious to see how this scheme melds together. I'll be curious to hear what some people who are a little bit more schematically profound than I am have to say about this. But I do think that the passing schemes, the middle of the field, Russell Wilson last season played in a scheme that is West Coast oriented, 49ers branch, but still West Coast oriented in verbiage. So hopefully that won't be much of an issue for him, but will be really interesting to see. No doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see how they, like I said, they meld all of this together. Pete Carroll was very, very against kind of having this quarterback centric system. He always wanted to run the football, play great defense. That's how he won his championships. And so, I think it was always kind of this clashing between two greats at that point. But we got Travis Weber again coming in with more stars. Thank you so much, Travis. You were shooting high for that new Russell Wilson Bronco jersey for sure. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. And it'll be great to see how the Broncos decide to go about this, and him going to an offense that really does want to open things up, take things deep, get him on the move, all those kind of things. And Travis Weber again coming in saying, great show tonight, guys. We can let it all sink in that we are on our way again. Have a good night, Broncos country. Mile high salute. Same to you. Giving you a mile high salute. And I hope we get to see a lot of those this next season. I hope all the guys kind of bring back that old look for sure. And then Dan coming in with a super chat saying, any comp picks possible this year? Probably not. With how aggressive the Broncos are going to be in free agency, I doubt they're worrying too much about trying to get comp picks. It'll be a little bit of a factor, but it's not going to stop them from making a deal.
Yeah, no, the Broncos don't have any comp picks this year. They were not. The other thing is they didn't lose anybody that was big time, value difference there on the open market last off season. So that says a little bit about the state of the roster there, because the teams weren't, paying big money to some of the Broncos. That also means that the Broncos have been retaining some of their talent also. We're not in line for ones the following season right now because they retained Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick. So that's better than probably a 4th round pick or a 3rd round pick that's at the end. We got C. Patrick Havner coming in here with the stars. Thank you so much, C. Patrick. We appreciate you. And we're keeping the good times rolling here. Man, the vibes are immaculate. I'm sorry I said Russell Westbrook, Bobby Hill III. That's the second time I did that today. It's just bleh. Yeah. When you talk enough, you're going to say something stupid. And I don't have to talk very much to say something stupid. Brandon not saying anything stupid here, though. $10. Z Smith from the Packers, that's Zadarius Smith, would be a nice sign in free agency at the linebacker spot. Absolutely. If he becomes available, if and when he becomes available, he's one that would interest me greatly. That would be great.
Well, and talking about comp picks, he wouldn't count against the comp pick formula because he'd be a cut. So that's the nice thing for the Broncos there. It's added talent and it doesn't hurt you that way.
Yeah. Absolutely. David Ellsbury saying, where is Zach and Chad? Hopefully they're at their homes, but it's Tuesday night, and that means it's building the Broncos. So you can get your Zach and Chad tomorrow night, and we'll hang out with them then. But right now, it's a little bit of quality time with Carl and Nick. So hopefully that's good enough for you, David, but we appreciate you. We got Jeremy McLeod coming in, Russell M.F. Wilson. I think I know what that stands for, but because I remember also PFM. Maybe we can just do RFW. It's a little easier. But Jeremy, thank you so much for the Canadian dollars. Hopefully you're doing well there up north of the border. We also got JJ coming in here saying, poor A-Rod. He wanted today to be about him. God, Carl, that makes me so happy. He's probably like crying into his gi right now, like cleansing whatever orifices that things are coming out of, because he's just, maybe Shailene Woodley's feeding him clay. I wouldn't be saying crap about Rodgers, but he hurt me too many times. I feel like this honestly, they should make a 80s style high school like movie out of this, where, we're the AV club nerd for a while. And, we have this girlfriend from summer camp who's kind of nerdy or like in a body cast or something. The cheerleader was like using us to get attention from her boyfriend that's the football captain, and then she spurns us to go back to the football captain. It was only to get attention. It was only to get more power in that relationship. And then the dorky girl that you met at band camp shows up, and she's a 10 out of 10, way better than that loser you had before. Heck yeah. And she's 3 years younger, or whatever. Who knows? David Wilder coming in here. I'm very happy Peyton gives us good options wherever we draft. Absolutely. Peyton right now has my undying support. I wouldn't say undying loyalty, because I would not be who I am if I didn't critique everything for what it is, right? Don't let the previous results influence the validity of, or the how good each individual move is. We're still going to, critique everything. But absolutely, man, he is off and rolling, and man, early candidate for personnel of the year, personnel director of the year, front office of the year. I think they have a word for that every year. So absolutely. The other thing too, because of the timeline of this, and thank you so much again for the stars, Travis, because of the timeline of this, if this would have happened, 2 weeks from now, you wouldn't have the benefit of knowing that Russell's here prior to the draft or
free agency.
Yeah, prior to free agency. I mean, I thought I was going to say Westbrook again. Oh no, don't let that happen, Nick. But now it's happening a week before free agency. I bet you a bunch of people are like, hold up. Weren't the Broncos interested in us before? I think I do want to go to Mile High. Miami was sounding good before, but Russ is going to cook there. I think I'm interested in Denver now. So absolutely, it's a great move. Travis Charbock saying, we're about to be good again, Broncos country. We're about to be good again. We're about to be relevant again. We're about to be fun again. God, it's been so painful to watch. And we still watch it because we love the Broncos. We're finding the good things to talk about still, and there's always hope. But there's legitimate hope. You brought in a top 10 quarterback who's in his prime right now. God bless. We're off. We're cooking.
And you have all these fun young weapons that finally actually get to be featured. You don't have to watch them, as the comment earlier, watch them be overthrown by 10 yards on a deep play where they're wide open. This is going to be a legit offense. I watched one of his games earlier today, and the offense was having some struggles here and there. And I was like, oh yeah, that was a decent game. And then I looked at the final score, and it was like 38-25.
Yeah.
And I was like, they put up 38 points, and it didn't even look like it was their best effort.
100%.
And for the Broncos, you put up 38, you're going, oh my gosh, that's the game of the year for them. Yeah. So yeah, it's nice to see that way. And you're right. Broncos country, get ready for all this. And then we got Jeffrey coming in.
This is what
Denver versus Green Bay, Super Bowl again. Oh my gosh. Oh, that would be poetic in nature. Oh my gosh.
The narrative would be great.
Yeah, Lawrence coming in again. Time's ticking. He opened the possibility for a right now. Now he needs to make it happen. Yeah, that's the great thing, is it gives you opportunities, and it's multiple opportunities. The next 5 years are going to be opportunities for sure. Maybe even beyond that for the Broncos to compete for Super Bowls. And it's nice where the AFC West, you don't feel like you're the third wheel, the fourth wheel, really, in this whole situation. You're not being left behind. You're not the one that's being not talked about. You hear these media people, national media, and they're like, oh yeah, and the Denver Broncos are in the AFC West, while they're talking about the Raiders, Chiefs, and Chargers. Now it's going to be Broncos, and oh yeah, there's some other team. Well, they're going to talk about them all, but no, it's very, very, very fun to see that. All right, James coming in. Finally, Russell has got the team that will get him where he deserves.
Yep.
Yeah. The Seahawks, they've been one of the worst drafting teams in the NFL. They've been one of the worst trading teams in the NFL. And I would say, again, this is another one of those trades where it's not a perfect trade for them. They still got value, but they could have got a lot more. Thankfully, Russell Wilson got to control a little bit of that.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much, James. And you're definitely right. Plot to American Pie was what I was referencing earlier. It does seem like a lot like it. No doubt about it. It's been a while since I've seen that one. Hopefully this Broncos season has less involvement with pies than what happened in that movie. It's been a bit. But yeah, no, man, I can't believe this happened, Carl. Just real second. I've been on all day today. My voice is starting to leave me. Just your general thoughts on what this means for the Broncos going forward, what it means for the fan base, what it means for the sale, and your expectations for the season. What does it look like? What should we be hoping for and expecting for the Broncos under Russell Wilson this season?
I would say, and I feel comfortable saying this, that this is a top 10 day in Bronco football history. Just to make this kind of move. I mean, that's with the Super Bowls. That's the trading for John Elway. That's getting Peyton Manning. Just because, I mean, that's how big this is for the organization. As for expectations, I mean, sky's the limit. I'd say 11, 12, 13, 14 wins. It's not out of the question at this point with the talent that's on this roster. The new coaching staff's going to be a question mark. If they are a good coaching staff, then this team should be one of the top 3-4 teams in football. If they're an average coaching team, then it drops them down a little bit. So now I'd say the bigger hindrance on this team could be the coaching staff more than anything else. Yep. We're going to have to wait and see on that. I hope not. I really hope this is a really great coaching staff. But Travis Weber, again, coming in with stars. Rodney, thank you as well for stars. Michael, sorry.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah, hey, Michael. Good to see you. Time for Nick to get off and relax for the rest of the night. I mean, my problem is, how do I sleep now? I've got all this energy. Seriously, I think I'm going to go for a second run today. I already did one just to try to calm myself down a little bit because I didn't want to be yelling into the mic and everybody be like, oh my gosh, get this guy to shut up. I think I'm going to go for another run after this because I won't be able to sleep. I really won't.
Where's the wife? That's the but anyway, we probably should get getting out of here pretty soon. You make a great comment there about the coaching staff. It would have been really, really easy for this year to be Drew Lock versus Andy Dalton versus, Sam Howell, and been like the same narrative we kind of had last year where, this coaching staff, they're getting a redshirt season after George Payton got a redshirt season last year. Nope. Absolutely not. The big thing now, this Russell Wilson coming here, the heat's up. You better step up to the plate. We don't know if you are going to be these coaching staff. We don't know if you're competent yet. One of the youngest coaching staffs in football, a lot of inexperience here, but the expectations, the eyes of the league are on you now. And this is what you want. I mean, to get to this situation, you want to be here with this quarterback. You don't want to be like Vic Fangio where you're forgotten and your quarterback play and your secondary blows a arm off one season, your pass rush loses a leg the next season, and your quarterback can't get it done still. No, the pressure's up now. AFC is going to be so freaking tough, man. The quarterbacks in the AFC are insane. I think you might have to write the Packers in the Super Bowl next year just by process of elimination. Maybe the 49ers have Trey Lance as a god out of the gate, but we got Louisiana Lisa coming in here saying, Broncos country, we got a quarterback. We got a gosh darn quarterback. This is going to be such an enjoyable offseason. Make sure you guys aren't heading anywhere either, because I think free agency is going to be popping. I think there's going to be a lot of rumors and interest and new Broncos coming down the tracks. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys aren't going anywhere. Stay tuned in. So much fun. Also, Michael coming back in. Thanks, Nick, for your hard work during the Russell Wilson trade to the Denver Broncos. I got you guys fooled. You think this is work? I'm sitting here hanging out talking ball. This is the easiest thing. God, I would love to do this. Shout out to the ladies of Mile High, too. We had a few earlier there. Michaela Parker coming in. Fangio's a bad word. Yeah, maybe he didn't get a fair shake. You can say that just as much as maybe Drew Lock didn't get a fair shake. I'm sorry, buddy. This is the gosh darn NFL. You have what you have, and you better make hay while the sun shines, because there's no guarantee it'll be up for long or out for long. So, we appreciate you. And it's the same thing I view with honestly, like the Josh McDaniels era, very sad, very upsetting. The Tim Tebow era was fun, but Rascal Flatts, I'm not a country guy at all. Don't like country music, but God bless the broken road, because everything that's happened has led us to this exact moment right now. And without those things that happened prior, maybe we're not here with Russell Wilson as the Broncos quarterback for the next 3, 5, 8, 10 years. I don't want to be anywhere else but here right now. So I'm excited. I'm so excited to see what you guys have in store for us as well. Like I said, make sure you guys aren't going anywhere. We're going to be back again live tomorrow night. It'll be Chad and Zach recapping it all. We got all the glory tonight. Sorry, guys. All the good news happens on Tuesday. You should know better by now. Tuesdays are ours. It's so fun. Make sure you guys are following Carl and I on Twitter. Carl is at Carl Dumler MHH, and I'm at Nick Kendell MHH. Travis coming in with some more support here, saying too bad Bobby Wagner can't come with Wilson. It always did seem like there was maybe some weirdness between the defensive leaders on the Seahawks and Russell Wilson. Not in the locker room. I can't speak to that. It would be fun to bring Bobby Wagner in here. I do wonder if his son is setting a bit for those linebacker spots. Still a very good linebacker, no doubt, but maybe one that is going to be paid more on the name than the production at this point in his career. But we'll see. Broncos, I mean, God, just bring back Josie Jewell for cheap, and we're going to be fine. I'd be all about that. Travis Tarbuck's also saying Peyton was a home run hire. Yeah, man. Who could have thought, a while ago, John Elway is going to kind of taking a back seat, bringing in George Payton, this guy from the Vikings. The Vikings built up this team through the draft, never really made the move for the quarterback, stuck in irrelevancy. Kirk Cousins, they're fine, but you're stuck behind Aaron Rodgers. And no lies, Carl, I know you probably had it too. A little bit of fear. Are we just becoming the Vikings on the Rockies version of the Vikings? I wouldn't say west of the Mississippi because like Minneapolis is kind of in a weird place where the Mississippi's running up there somewhere. Yeah. But heck no. I think if anything, he learned. If you have a chance to go get a white whale at the quarterback position, you do it.
So talking about Peyton here, just real quick. Elway, second year, gets Peyton Manning. Peyton, second year, gets Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
First year, they take a franchise-changing defensive player for the draft. Then they go get their quarterback. They're kind of having some things mirror here, the early part of their GM jobs. Yeah. Hopefully we get that Super Bowl as well here with George Payton. Hopefully he doesn't have the fall off that John Elway had, though.
Ooh, and I guess, well, now this is interesting because Bobby Wagner was just released by the Seahawks. So everything I just said, Bobby, I love you. You're not old. And I would be interested, and maybe he'd be interested too. And if I said Russell Westbrook again, somebody needs to give me like a shock collar or something every time I get it wrong. Because it's the R dub. My brain is going faster than my mouth. Sometimes, a lot of times, unfortunately. But hey, the one thing that's also really fun about Bobby Wagner and like Zadarius Smith and DeMarcus Lawrence and all those guys, free agents who came to be free agents by being cut rather than having their contract run out, do not count against the compensatory formula. So if you're wanting to play the comp game for future capital, that's the one you want to look out for. So it will be really interesting. Again, we need a shot caller. Nick, you said Russell Westbrook again, you idiot. I apologize. Running on fumes, running on hopes and dream, running on hype, man. This is pent up hope and optimism that been caging and stuffing down for the last 6 years. No, Nick, don't get your hopes up, especially after the Aaron Rodgers saga last offseason. But man, it flows forth right now. So excited. Gosh, I can't believe it. We got a chance. There's no guarantees. It's going to take a team no matter what. We've seen that from Matt Stafford stinking with the Lions to winning a Super Bowl in 1 year. We kind of saw it with Tom Brady. Oh, Tom Brady's done. Tom Brady looks terrible. Well, their offensive weapons were trash, and they didn't really have much of a running threat either. Then he goes and wins the Super Bowl 1 year. Maybe it's the same with Russell Wilson. Oh, he's been trending down. Have you looked at that Seattle roster? It's not very good. So we'll see. Going to be a lot of fun. God, we 6 years of buildup, Nick. It's okay. I know. It's just at all energy. It's so much fun. We appreciate you guys. This has been a whirlwind of a day that I'm not soon to forget. Hopefully you guys will remember this one for a while as well. And we really appreciate you on a day like today, choosing to Huddle Up and building the Broncos to come hang out with us and get some Russell Wilson news, information, and vibes out there. It's all about the vibes right now. The vibes are great. Carl, any thoughts before we get on out of here? I know we got to start wrapping up here.
Like I said, couldn't be happier. I've already gotten so many texts from Chiefs fans congratulating, oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. Those games are going to be, those are primetime games every single time now that you're going to have Russell Wilson versus Patrick Mahomes. And we're actually going to beat the Chiefs again. I feel confident saying that. And it's been a while since we've been able to say that. So I'm just so excited. I can't wait for this season. Can't wait to get to training camp this year. Go check this out, watch it live myself. And oh my gosh, get ready for the ride, everyone. Enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah, enjoy the moment. Enjoy right now. If anything, if we can learn Broncos country, we've been spoiled in these last 6 years. We're rough. No doubt about that. But things are going to be fun again. Just appreciate that we're back in the spotlight. Relevancy is here. And there's legitimate hope. It's not the anything can happen in a single season hope. It's you have a franchise quarterback and you have a good core around him right now. So really going to be fun. We also got Cristobal coming in here. My bro gave my son a Wilson ball for his birthday in December, not knowing what kind of ball it was. I told him to keep it still because Russell was coming to Denver anyway. It really happened. Wow. Cristobal, make sure you say that, Nick, you're going to find $2,000 in your pocket. That's the next one we need you to work on. No, thank you so much for the support.
What I was thinking is Cristobal has a crystal ball. And thank you for making that, just speaking it into existence right there, because like I said, this is so much fun, and it's just going to be able to sit back and enjoy Sundays again, to enjoy football, watching the Broncos, and not just be like, oh my gosh, how bad is it going to be today? So everybody buckle up.
Buckle up. We appreciate you guys. Definitely time for us to beat them again. Beat the Chiefs for the first time since 2015. Now I think they actually got a chance this year. It's going to be great. Make sure you guys are following us at Huddle Up Pod and at Mile High Huddle. Also follow Carl and I on Twitter. Carl is at Carl Dumler MHH, and I'm at Nick Kendell MHH. Also make sure you're going to huddleuppod.com to check out the gear. We got the Building the Broncos hats on right now. We got the Broncos for Breakfast one. Sometimes I wear them both at the same time around the house. No, I don't. But check out all the gear there, the shirts, the coffee mugs, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of fun. If you guys are joining us on Facebook today, we appreciate you. Make sure you click the thumbs up there. But also make sure you're following us at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod, as well as facebook.com/Mile High Huddle. I know that we had Trevor Sandel came in and left us a review on iTunes. We really appreciate you, Trevor, the 5-star review. If you guys have enjoyed the show as well, or you haven't, if you haven't, this is not Building the Broncos. This is a different show. No, but if you guys have enjoyed the show, make sure you go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and a review, and any critiques you have. Nick says Russell Westbrook way too much. Valid point. But make sure you're leaving us a review on there. Also, guys, if you haven't done so yet, please, we still got a bunch of people in here. Click the thumbs up, click the heart on the way out, click the care react. All that'll help us. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and share. Man, my heats just came back on a little bit ago, Carl, right before the show came. They got that back up. So we're cooking in here now as well. I actually have to go into work because I've been waiting on them all day today, but that's okay because I got to sit here and talk football and process all the Russell Wilson stuff with you guys. So no complaints. Enjoy your run. We'll see you guys on Scott's channel tomorrow at youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy, talking a little bit more about the draft. It still matters. Love you guys. Momentous day in Broncos country. And we're just getting started. It's going to be a lot of fun. Go Broncos.
You've been listening to Building the Broncos. Join Broncos Country's deep divers at milehighhuddle.com to keep the conversation going.